Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is finally upon us. Well done, guys. You did it. You remained patient. You persevered. You now get to enjoy one succulent video game chicken. Just before you head off into your massive rebirth adventure, I thought I would compile a list of 13 tips that you should definitely keep in mind for while you are on this massive world journey with Cloud and the gang. Thank you so much to Square Enix for providing me with an early copy of the game. Let's jump into it. There are two things you should definitely know when playing as Cloud and Barret. Barret's special triangle attack Overcharge is incredibly useful. It deals out some nice damage on top of being great towards building that enemy stagger gauge. However, the charge animation for this makes Barret incredibly vulnerable. A quicker way to charge up Overcharge is to press triangle at the end of a square combo. This will cut the charge animation time in half. Definitely get into the habit of attacking with Barret, then at the end of his combo press triangle to then charge up Overcharge. One of Cloud's best abilities in the entire game is known as Counter Stance, allowing Cloud to quickly counter parry an enemy if this ability has been activated and they attack at the same time. However, you don't get this ability until right at the end of the game, but you should know that Cloud actually comes pre-built with his base moveset with a counter parry. If you time changing into Punisher mode with Cloud at the very moment an enemy attacks, you will counter them in a similar fashion to the way you do with Counter Stance. Obviously, there's a little bit of skill involved with countering with changing into Punisher mode compared to just using Counter Stance. However, certainly use this as you progress through the game. Try to get good with it. It is incredibly useful. Aerith has been slightly changed up too, and an ability of hers that you should most certainly use is a unique triangle move known as Ward Shift. This used to be Tempest in Remake, but Tempest is now being moved to holding down square. Ward Shift is the replacement, and it's incredibly useful considering that Aerith's normal dodge is not that great. However, Ward Shift goes hand in hand with Aerith's ward abilities. There are now 3 ward abilities compared to Remake's 1. All of them are incredibly useful, and you should most definitely use all of them. They give her a crazy edge in combat, but if you put a ward down and use Ward Shift, Aerith will automatically teleport to one of the wards. Because Aerith has up to 3 wards to use, if you use Ward Shift while standing in a ward, you'll teleport to one that you've put somewhere else. So this can sort of be useful, using the wards as teleport points to teleport from one part of the area to another so that the enemy or boss in question can't reach you. Almost every single vending machine that you come across usually has a sale towards 1, 2, or 3 items. Now, most of the time, these are usable items like potions and ethers, but sometimes this can even account for that of equipment. And trust me, during the given time of where you're up to in the game, sometimes some of these vending machines can list some of the best accessories and equipment for more than half of the usual price. However, you should definitely get into the habit of checking literally every single vending machine you come across and just simply purchasing the items that are on sale, especially when looking towards usable ones. And speaking of items, using items is a lot quicker than using magic to heal yourself. So let's say you're in a bind, you're almost about to die, there's a lot of enemies surrounding you, it would probably be wiser to pop an item rather than using Cure or Cura at that time, just because the charge time for Cure magic is a little bit slow. Using items is always faster. Here are 3 secret materials that you can get relatively early in the game. You can swim out to this little island in the grasslands to find a precision defense focus materia. Now, Red 13 already starts the game off with one of these materials, but it's great to have a lot of your other party members equipped with this. A new mechanic for intermission as well as here in Rebirth is perfect blocking. If you perform block at the exact moment you're attacked, you'll receive no damage whatsoever, as well as also apply stagger to the enemy. This materia increases the window of opportunity to be able to perform a perfect block, as well as leveling this materia up will apply even more stagger to an enemy when performing a perfect block. In the desert area of the grasslands, if you make your way to this little cave, you'll find an Item Master materia sitting on the dock. Item Master is also another great one for the beginning portions of the game. This will increase the potency of any item you use. use. When you finally arrive in Chapter 4 and make your way to the Junon region, in this crater you'll find a level boost materia. This can be put into a linked socket to upgrade any materia up one level. One materia that should definitely be equipped on at least one of your party members is the poison materia. Definitely don't sleep on this. It's one of the only attacks in the entire game that can apply a passive attack to an enemy. The damage that is applied by Bio is fairly low, so you might look at this at first and be like, it's kind of not worth it. I'd rather just have another materia in its spot. But as you level this materia up, which it can go up to a total of 3, and start using Bioga, the duration of the effect is increased as well as the overall damage. This is an incredibly useful materia for those longer fights like bosses. Bio initially explodes on an enemy, and that does a decent amount of damage, then rolls over into tick damage. Because this is passive tick damage too, if this is linked with an HP absorption blue materia or MP absorption materia, this is great for getting any of those resources back. Especially HP absorption, this almost works like a mini regen magic. Be sure to assess literally everything. Get into the habit of doing this. Cloud starts off with an assess materia, allowing you to examine an enemy to read up on its weaknesses as well as its resistances. However, not every single enemy in the game has a weakness. Sometimes there is a certain special attack that you have to use against an enemy in order to pressure it to build up stagger. Assess will give you those detailed descriptions on how to apply pressure to every single enemy. So if you are in a bind and you're a little bit confused as to how to defeat something, definitely use Assess. This will also give you some interesting lore on the creature that you're examining too. And to add to this, if you want to read up on the Assess information of something you've already previously scanned, just make sure you're locking onto the thing you want to examine and press the touchpad. When you're roaming around the world with a chocobo, sometimes a question mark will appear above its head. This indicates that there is a loot spot that can be dug up around the area. Now, this is something that is explained to you in-game. However, what you should be aware of is these spots are usually indicated by rabbits. So more so, if you're exploring on foot without the chocobo and you come across some rabbits, make sure to jump on your chocobo, start sniffing it out, and you'll find that loot spot. These loot spots contain all kinds of various things, generally just materials for crafting, but you can sometimes also find secret collectible items too. Rebirth introduces a new difficulty option known as Dynamic Mode. This means that every enemy in the game will scale to your party's current level. Now you can change the difficulty at any given time via the pause menu. Now most people are going to play Rebirth the first time around on normal difficulty, but here's a quick tip in case you want to get a little bit extra XP. In fact, more than 2 times for every combat situation you're in. Change the difficulty to dynamic, and then you can start grinding enemies that you feel confident enough to take on. This is especially handy for the end of your Rebirth experience where you're trying to finish things up, further level up your party members before going into hard mode. This is a great way to prepare for that mode. Or if you just simply want to finish up the last remainder of XP for your next level. If you care about the gold saucer date portion of Rebirth, which happens more towards the end of the game, then you should definitely be mindful about who you are closest with via the relationship system, a brand new system for Rebirth that allows you to become closer with each of the party members. Now, depending on who you are closest with in regards to that relationship level, this will determine who your gold saucer date will be. There are a various amount of different ways in order to increase your relationship level. Sometimes you'll have the opportunity to talk to your party members, and if you answer questions correctly out of the 3 options you're given, this will deepen your connection with said party member. Using synergy skills and synergy abilities in combat is also another way to increase this gauge. Or side quests. Some specific side quests throughout the game that involve a certain party member will increase this level. And here's another quick tip about the relationship system. Most of the time when you're given the opportunity to be able to talk to your party member, it's fairly obvious. It's generally when you come across a new town, your party members will just sort of be walking around roaming the streets, be minding their business. And there'll be a little speech bubble icon above their heads with the current status of your relationship with that character. However, halfway through chapter 4, when you're in Under Junon and make your way back to the inn at a certain point, you can open the doors to each of the inn rooms to where your party members are staying for the night. This will then provide you with an opportunity to talk to them to strengthen that relationship level. This is an easily missable opportunity to increase the relationship meter with your party members, so keep this one in mind. The synergy system was first introduced in Final Fantasy VII Remake's DLC Intermission, but it has been significantly expanded upon here in Rebirth. While the synergy abilities are essentially mini limits between two specific characters, the synergy skills are more so basic skills between two specific characters. The thing is though, they don't require any ATB gauge to use. I'm going to list 4 Cloud ones here that are incredibly useful. Bullet Batter, which is a synergy skill between Cloud and Barret, and Howling Smash, which is a skill between Cloud and Red, allows Cloud to freely perform a ranged-based attack. Bullet Batter is physical damage and Howling Smash is magic damage. The thing is, if you have both Red and Barret in your party, you can spam the living life force out of this. This is great for being able to apply pressure and stagger towards an enemy. Power Cleave, which is between Cloud and Tifa, and Spellblade, which is between Cloud and Aerith, is basically like a stronger version of Braver. The difference here with Power Cleave is that it's physical and Spellblade is magical damage. This skill is great for when an enemy is staggered. It takes a little while to charge up, but man, the damage is worth it. Again, it is even stronger than Braver. And just another quick little mini tip here to do with the synergy skill system is this can be a great use of getting your party members out of the way of being attacked. This basically teleports them straight to the character you're controlling when using a synergy skill. And finally, throughout the game, you're going to be picking up materials a lot. You'll be pressing that triangle button like your life depends on it. Now, you might be wondering, is there an auto pickup system in the options menu? Unfortunately, from the get-go, there isn't. It's a little bit annoying, honestly, that there isn't, because an option for auto pickup does actually exist in the game, just not until you beat it. When you finish the game, you'll be given some extra settings. I will not talk about what the other ones are, don't want to spoil anything, but one of the extra settings that you should most definitely activate when you finish the game up is auto pickup. So that right there, guys, is 13 tips to help you out with your Rebirth adventure, and trust me, you'll need these. This is one massive journey. While I have personally gone through the story myself, there is still a lot of content I haven't seen. I am still hard at work, grinding to see absolutely everything I possibly can. Just quickly too, I am blown away by Rebirth. This is definitely one of the best Square Enix titles of all time. I am flabbergasted by the craftsmanship of this absolutely beautiful product of a video game. I will have my Rebirth review out sometime soon. However, guys, that is all for today. Thank you as always to my incredibly wonderful patrons. You guys are turkey-tastic. Be sure to subscribe here to the channel to keep up with everything that's going on. Check out my other social media platforms. I'm Cynical, hopefully having a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon.